How are you guys doing? Today is Monday, January 18th, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to walk you through the Elite performances and matchups from yesterday, Sunday, January 17th, 2021. And of course, I'm going to preview the matchups today as we go through the world of sports one day at a time. So I'm going to start with the NFL. And in this divisional round week, after two teams were eliminated on Saturday, two teams were eliminated yesterday to cut the official count of NFL teams from 6 to 4. And in the first matchup, the AFC regular season champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending champions Kansas City Chiefs, would host the 6th seed Cleveland Browns. And in this matchup, the Kansas City Chiefs would beat the Cleveland Browns 22-17 after outscoring the Browns 19-3 in the first half. In their final game of the 2020-2021 season, Baker Mayfield, their starting quarterback, would complete 23 of his 37 passes, throwing for 204 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. He also ran for 11 yards on the ground, so that would give him a total of 215 yards of offense. Their leading rusher was their elite running back, Nick Chubb, who would finish with 69 yards on 13 carries. Kareem Hunt, their other running back, had 32 yards on 6 carries and a touchdown. Nick Chubb had 4 yards through the air, so he'd have 73 yards in his final outing, as Kareem Hunt had 2 yards on a reception, so he'd have 34. The leading receiver was Rashard Higgins, who had 88 yards on 5 receptions. David Njoku, their tight end out of Miami, had 59 yards on 4 receptions. Jarvis Landry would finish with the only receiving touchdown of the day, as he had 20 yards on 7 receptions for the Browns. On the defensive side of the ball, Terrence Mitchell was their leading tackler, as he had 7 of them on the day. Their elite defensive end, Myles Garrett, would finish with 2 tackles, as he finished with the only sack of the day for the entire team. Carl Joseph would log the only interception of the day. And for the Kansas City Chiefs, in this matchup, their elite starting quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, would complete 21 of his 30 passes, throwing for 255 yards and a touchdown, as he also ran for 14 yards on 30 carries and a rushing touchdown, giving him 269 total yards of offense and 2 total touchdowns. Their leading rusher was Darrell Williams, who had 78 yards on 13 carries. And then when Patrick Mahomes would eventually get subbed out in the second half, as he would get put into concussion protocol. And when he got subbed, and his backup quarterback, Chad Henne, would complete 6 of his 8 passes, throwing for 66 yards and an interception. He also had the play of the game when he rushed for the first down to clinch the AFC title game for the Chiefs. For the Chiefs, so their leading receiver was their elite wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, who finished with 110 yards on 8 receptions. Their elite tight end, Travis Kelce, finished with 109 yards on 8 receptions and a touchdown. He had the only receiving touchdown of the day, and Mecole Hardman out of Georgia would finish with 58 yards on 4 receptions for the day. On the defensive side of the ball, their elite safety, Tyrann Mathieu, would lead the team in tackles, as he had 7 of them. L'Jarius Sneed would have the only sack of the day, as he had 1 of them. Their elite defensive tackle, Chris Jones, would finish with 3 tackles on the day. And then their elite safety, Tyrann Mathieu, in addition to leading the team in tackles with 7, he was also able to get an interception, a very big one for the team. And with this win, the Kansas City Chiefs will go on to host the Buffalo Bills at 6:40 on Sunday, January 24th, which is currently 6 days from now. It'll be the second of the 2 matchups, and it'll be the second game that decides who goes to the Super Bowl. So it'll be very impressive to see how this 1-2 matchup is going to shake out, how it's going to shape out. And then looking at the other game from last night, the second seed New Orleans Saints in the NFC hosted the 5th seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that they had swept in the regular season, the first time a Tom Brady team has ever been swept in the regular season in Tom Brady's long 20-year career. And in this game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were able to beat the New Orleans Saints 30-20 in the Superdome after going into halftime tied, or going into the fourth quarter tied, and outscoring the Saints 10-0 in the fourth quarter to take over the game and win it for their city. In their final game of the 2020-2021 season, For the New Orleans Saints. Their goated quarterback, Drew Brees, would complete 19 of his 34 passes, throwing for 134 yards, a touchdown, and 3 picks. He also ran for 3 yards. He had 137 total yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 turnovers on the day, and what could have possibly been his final football game as a starting quarterback in the pros, but we have no idea. Drew Brees will make that decision eventually, but this could have been his last game. And also on a trick play, their backup quarterback, Jameis Winston, would complete his only pass of the day for 56 yards and a touchdown. Their leading rusher was their elite running back, Alvin Kamara, who'd finish with 85 yards on 18 receptions. He would also on 18 carries, I'm sorry. He also had 20 yards on 3 receptions to give him 115 total yards of offense on 21 touches. Their leading receiver was Traquan Smith, who finished with 85 yards on 3 receptions, and he had both receiving touchdowns for New Orleans. They're on their defensive side of the ball, their safety Malcolm Jenkins would lead the team in tackles with 11 of them. Demario Davis would finish with 9 tackles and the only sack of the game. Their elite defensive end Cameron Jordan would finish with 4 tackles as well. And then their elite corner Marshawn Lattimore would finish with 1 tackle as well. And then for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in their NFC divisional matchup, their goated quarterback, Tom Brady, would complete 18 of his 33 passes, throwing for 199 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also ran for 2 yards on 5 carries and a touchdown, giving him 201 total yards and 3 total touchdowns on the day. He also would recover his own fumble, which would be pretty big as well. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers leading rusher was Leonard Fournette, who had 63 yards on 17 carries, and Ronald Jones II had 62 yards on 13 carries. Leonard Fournette was also able to add with 44 yards on 5 receptions and a touchdown, which would give him enough for 107 total yards of offense. And of course, he would have the 1 touchdown of the day, one of Tom Brady's receiving touchdowns. Cameron Brate would be the leading receiver for Tampa Bay as he finished with 50 yards on 4 receptions. And then their elite wide receiver Mike Evans would finish with 3 yards on 1 reception and the other receiving touchdown from Tom Brady on the day. On the defensive side of the ball, Devin White would be the leading tackler for Tampa Bay as he finished with 11 tackles. He recovered a fumble. He was also able to finish with an interception. Mike Edwards was able to log an interception for the team as well as he finished with a tackle. And then Sean Murphy-Bunting would finish with 5 tackles, a tackle for loss, and an interception, a 36-yard interception return, as the team was unable to log a single sack for the day. But with this win, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will go to Lambeau Field next Sunday at 3:05 in the first game, and they will face off against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. It'll be Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers, of course, a matchup that many people have been waiting to see in the NFL. So that's going to be a very big matchup, and that's what the playoffs are going to be looking like next week with the Buccaneers-Packers NFC Championship at 3:05 on Fox and the Bills-Chiefs AFC Championship game at 6:40 on CBS, both on Sunday, if I haven't said that enough times. But as of right now, the division round, the pool of teams competing for the Super Bowl has been cut from 8 to 4, and we're gonna see what happens with the NFL next week. Looking into what went down with the NBA, starting with the primetime matchups. Jumping to Boston, the Boston Celtics hosted their division rivals, the New York Knicks, and in this matchup, the New York Knicks were able to beat the Celtics 105-75 after outscoring the Boston Celtics in roughly every single quarter of the game. And for the Boston Celtics, their leading scorer would be their starting shooting guard, Jaylen Brown, as he finished with 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists on the night. And then their elite point guard, Kemba Walker, in his first game back would finish with 9 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals, as well as 5 turnovers in 20 minutes, shooting 3 for 13 from the field, 1 for 8 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the free throw line. For the New York Knicks, off the bench, their shooting guard, Emmanuel Quickley, would finish with 17 points and 8 assists in 21 minutes as he shot 7 for 12 from the field. Their starting shooting guard RJ Barrett would finish with 19 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists and a couple of steals in 29 minutes, as he shot 5 for 11 from the field and 7 for 8 from the line. And then the Knicks' leading scorer would be their starting power forward Julius Randle, who would finish with 20 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists and 3 steals in 31 minutes, as he shot 7 for 14 from the field and 4 for 5 from the line. With this win, the New York Knicks are currently 6-8, which currently has them sitting with the 9th spot in the East. And with this loss, the Celtics are 8-4, which has them sitting half a game behind the Bucks, with the second best record in the Eastern Conference. Jumping out to Dallas, the Dallas Mavericks hosted the Chicago Bulls, and in this matchup, the Bulls were able to beat the Mavericks 117-101, especially after outscoring the Mavericks by 15 in the first half. In this game for the Dallas Mavericks, their starting power forward, Kristaps Porzingis, would finish with 20 points and 8 rebounds in 33 minutes, as he shot 9 for 19 from the field and 2 for 2 from the line, as he shot 0 for 7 from 3. And the Dallas Mavericks leading scorer would be their elite point guard, Luka Doncic, who would finish with 36 points, 16 rebounds, and 15 assists in 38 minutes, as he shot 13 for 30 from the field, 6 for 11 from 3, and 4 for 6 from the line. And then for the Chicago Bulls, off the bench, their power forward, Thaddeus Young, would finish with 15 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, a couple steals, and a couple blocks in 19 minutes, as he shot 7 for 10 from the field. Their shooting guard off the bench, Garrett Temple, would finish with 21 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and a couple steals in 29 minutes, as he shot 9 for 15 from the field. And then the Bulls' leading scorer would be their starting power forward, Lauri Markkanen, who finished with 29 points and 10 rebounds in 33 minutes, shooting 10 for 19 from the field and 7 for 8 from the line. With this win, the Chicago Bulls are 5-8, which has them sitting at the 11th spot in the East. And with this loss, the Mavericks are currently 6-6, which ties them with the Warriors, the Grizzlies, and the Thunder for the 7th best record in the West. Jumping out to Denver, the Denver Nuggets hosted the Utah Jazz, and in this matchup, the Jazz were able to beat the Nuggets 109-105 after outscoring the Denver Nuggets by 9 in the second half. For the Denver Nuggets, their elite starting point guard, Jamal Murray, would finish with 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists in 42 minutes, as he shot 11 for 27 from the field, 4 for 11 from 3, and 4 for 5 from the line. And then their elite center, Nikola Jokic, would finish with 35 points, 14 rebounds, 9 assists, and a couple of steals, as well as 6 turnovers in 40 minutes, as he shot 14 for 23 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and 4 for 4 from the line. For the Utah Jazz, off the bench, their point guard Jordan Clarkson would finish with 23 points, 3 rebounds, and a couple of steals in 30 minutes, as he shot 9 for 13 from the field and 4 for 8 from 3. Their starting small forward, Bojan Bogdanovic, would finish with 17 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists in 34 minutes, shooting 6 for 13 from the field and 5 for 9 from 3. Their elite starting center, Rudy Gobert, would finish with 15 points, 13 rebounds, and a couple blocks in 33 minutes, shooting 4 for 5 from the field and 7 for 13 from 3. And their elite shooting guard, Donovan Mitchell, would finish with 18 points, 3 rebounds, and 7 assists, as well as a couple of blocks in 38 minutes, shooting 7 for 20 from the field, 0 for 7 from 3, and 4 for 4 from the line. With this win, the Utah Jazz are 9-4, which has them sitting with the 3rd spot in the West, half a game behind the Los Angeles Clippers. And with this loss, the Nuggets are now 6-7, which is the 11th best record in the West, or the 5th worst record in the West, depending on how you look at it. Jumping to Sacramento, the Kings hosted the New Orleans Pelicans, and the Pelicans were able to beat the Kings 128-123 after outscoring the Kings by 9 in the first quarter and kind of riding that momentum through the end of the game. For the Sacramento Kings, their starting center, Richaun Holmes, would finish with 16 points and 7 rebounds in 42 minutes, shooting 7 for 12 from the field. Their starting shooting guard, Buddy Hield, would finish with 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists in 36 minutes, shooting 5 for 12 from the field, 5 for 11 from 3, and 3 for 3 from the line. Their starting power forward, Marvin Bagley, would finish with 26 points and 10 rebounds, go Duke, in 36 minutes, as he shot 11 for 19 from the field, and he made both of his free throw attempts. And then their leading scorer would be their starting point guard, De'Aaron Fox, who'd finish with 43 points, 13 assists, and 4 steals, as well as 4 rebounds in 39 minutes, as he shot 17 for 27 from the field, 3 for 9 from 3 and 6 for 8 from the free throw line. And then for the New Orleans Pelicans, their starting shooting guard Eric Bledsoe would finish with 21 points and 6 rebounds in 30 minutes as he shot 8 for 14 from the field and 3 for 4 from 3. Their elite starting small forward, Brandon Ingram, would finish with 22 points and 3 rebounds in 35 minutes as he shot 8 for 19 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the line. And their elite power forward, their number 1 overall pick in the 2019 draft, Zion Williamson, from Duke, go Duke, and Brandon Ingram, of course, go Duke as well. This is a very Duke-heavy game. Zion Williamson would finish with 31 points, 6 rebounds, and a couple of assists in 35 minutes as he shot 13 for 15 from the field and 5 for 5 from the line. With this win, the New Orleans Pelicans are 5-7, which is the 12th best record in the West, or the 4th worst record, depending on how you look at it. And with this loss, the Sacramento Kings are 5-9, which is the 2nd worst record in the West, or the 14th best. Jump to the last game of the night. The Los Angeles Clippers hosted the Indiana Pacers and were able to beat the Pacers 129-96 after outscoring the Clippers by 19 in the third and 8 in the fourth, which is a combined 27 in the second half. For the Indiana Pacers, their starting shooting guard Justin Holiday would finish with 15 points, 3 rebounds and 3 steals in 35 minutes, shooting 6 for 13 from the field. Their starting point guard, Malcolm Brogdon, would finish with 16 points and 8 assists in 34 minutes, shooting 7 for 21 from the field. Their starting power forward and reigning all-star, Domantas Sabonis, would finish with 19 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 assists in 34 minutes, shooting 7 for 14 from the field. And the Pacers' leading scorer was their small forward out of Creighton, Doug McDermott, who finished with 23 points in 32 minutes, shooting 9 for 12 from the field and 5 for 7 from 3. For the Los Angeles Clippers, off the bench, their shooting guard out of Duke, go Duke, Luke Kennard, would finish with 20 points and 4 rebounds in 21 minutes, shooting 7 for 12 from the field and 5 for 8 from 3. Their small forward, Marcus Morris Sr., would finish with 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists in 27 minutes, shooting 7 for 11 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the line. Their goated small forward, Kawhi Leonard, would finish with 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists in 31 minutes as he shot 8 for 13 from the field and 1 for 2 from 3. And their elite shooting guard, Paul George, would tie with Marcus Morris Sr. and Luke Kennard for the team high in points as he finished with 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists in 34 minutes, shooting 7 for 11 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and 4 for 4 from the line. Those are the games from yesterday as the Cavs-Wizards game and the Sixers-Thunder games got postponed. But looking forward to what's going on today for the MLK Day matchups. Starting with the primetime ones at 12 o'clock. The Knicks are going to host the Magic on NBA TV. At 2:30, the Hawks are going to host the Timberwolves on NBA TV. At 5 o'clock, the Grizzlies are going to host the Suns on TNT. At 7:30, the Nets are going to host the Bucks on TNT. And at 10, the Lakers are going to host the Warriors on TNT. And with the Wizards-Cavs game being postponed, the Heat are going to host the Pistons at 3. The Blazers are going to host the Spurs at 3 as well. The Raptors are going to host the Mavericks in Tampa. The Bulls are going to host the Rockets. The Bulls are going to host the Rockets. And those are the games for today, as there are a good amount of games to look forward to today. Looking out to college basketball, looking through the ranked matchups from yesterday. First off, 11th ranked Houston was hosted unranked UCF and was able to beat UCF 75-58 behind Justin Gorham's 15 points and 9 rebounds. With this win, Houston is now 11-1 as they are now 6-1 in the American Conference. With this loss, UCF is 3-5 as they are now 1-4 in the American Conference. Unranked Wake Forest was able to beat unranked Wake Forest hosted 20th ranked Virginia Tech, and Virginia Tech was able to beat Wake Forest after outscoring Wake Forest by 6 in the first half. Tyrese Radford would lead the way for Virginia Tech, scoring 20 points on the day. With this win, Virginia Tech is now 11-2, and they are 5-1 in the ACC. And with this loss, Wake Forest is 3-5, as their ACC record is currently 0-5. And in the last game of the night, Unranked Northwestern hosted fifth-ranked Iowa, and fifth-ranked Iowa was able to beat Northwestern 96-73 after outscoring Northwestern by 12 in the first half and 11 in the second. Luka Garza would lead the way for Iowa, scoring 17 points and 10 rebounds. With this win, Iowa is 12-2 as they are 6-1 in the Big Ten, and with this loss, Northwestern is 6-6 as they drop to 3-5 in the Big Ten. Looking at what's going on today at 2:30, 25th ranked UConn is going to host unranked St. John's. On Fox at 7 o'clock, 16th ranked Louisville is going to host unranked Florida State on ESPN. And at 9 o'clock, second ranked Baylor is going to host 6th ranked Kansas on ESPN. That's going to be a very, very big matchup considering what's going on. Looking out to what's going on in the NHL, because I think the NHL is slowly but surely getting started moving into its season. The Penguins are able to beat the Capitals in a shootout, as Ovechkin would shine pretty bright for the Capitals, but this would be a very big win for the Penguins. And then the Panthers would end up beating the Blackhawks 5-2. Looking out to today's matchups, looking at just like the premier games as to what games to really be looking out for. The Blue Jackets are going to host the Red Wings at 12 o'clock on NBC Sports News. The Islanders are going to host the Bruins on NBC Sports News at 5. And following that, the Flyers are going to host the Sabres at 7:30 on NBC Sports News. There are a couple of games on ESPN Plus, and then at the end of the day at 10 o'clock, the Las Vegas Golden Knights are going to host the Phoenix Coyotes on NBC Sports News at 10 o'clock. And then last but not least, looking out to what's been going on in the world of soccer, jumping out to see what's going on just worldwide, to see how it's looking on the international circuit. Starting in the Premier League, Tottenham was able to beat Sheffield United, the worst team in the Premier League, 3-1. Their second goal came from their elite English striker Harry Kane in the 40th minute. And with this win, Tottenham Hotspur currently sits 5th in the Premier League table, as Sheffield right now is sitting 20th. At the very bottom by about 6 points, by 2 games. But also looking out, the top 2 teams faced off in Liverpool and Man U, and neither team was able to score, so it resulted in a draw. Man U, following these matchups, Man U sits at the top of the table with 37 points. They are 2 points ahead of Man City, who has played 1 less game, so Man City can pass Man U in the table. And with this draw, Liverpool currently sits with 34 points. They are 3 points out of first place, and they are currently sitting a point behind Leicester City, who's sitting in third at the moment. Manchester City, like I just mentioned, they were able to beat Crystal Palace 4-0, as their defender John Stones would finish with, he would score 2 goals, and then their elite English attacker Raheem Sterling would score the 4th goal in the 88th minute to put them above Crystal Palace. With this win, Manchester City is sitting 2nd in the Premier League, as they are 2 points behind Manchester United with 1 less game played, meaning with 1 more game to play, they very well could pass Man U, but they have to win in order to do so. And then with this loss, Crystal Palace is currently sitting 13th in the table. Looking at the German Bundesliga to show you what's going on in that league, Bayern Munich was able to beat Freiburg 2-1. Their elite Polish striker, Robert Lewandowski, would score the first goal in the 7th minute. And then it would come off the assist from their elite German center attacking mid, Thomas Müller, who would score the 74th minute, who scored the second goal in the 74th minute, assisted from their elite winger, Leroy Sané. They were able to beat Freiburg by a point, but they were still able to grab 3 points in the Bundesliga. Looking out in the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich is comfortably sitting at the top by 4 points over second place RB Leipzig, as it currently stands. And Robert Lewandowski has 21 goals through the first half of the season, which is the most any player has ever had. So he's on pace to possibly break a Bundesliga record. Looking at Serie A, Napoli was able to beat Fiorentina 6-0. Big win for them. And looking out into Serie A, Napoli is currently sitting 3rd in the table, as they are 6 points behind AC Milan and Inter, as they have played as many games as Milan, but 1 less game than Inter Milan. But still a big game, big win for Napoli. Inter Milan was able to beat Juventus 2-0, as that was a very, very big matchup, and it was a very big win considering they were able to hold Juventus completely scoreless. And with this win, Inter is sitting right on top with AC Milan. They have the same amount of points, even though AC Milan has played one less game. And with this loss, Juventus currently sits fifth in the table, sixth place behind AC, or 6 points behind AC and Inter Milan, or 7 points behind AC and Inter Milan. As with one less game, they played one less game than in AS Roma, so they have a chance to possibly surpass them for fourth in the table with one game in hand. In the Spanish Supercopa, Athletic Bilbao was able to beat Barcelona, as both of Barcelona's goals would come from their elite French striker, or their elite French attacker, Antoine Griezmann, in the 40th and 77th minute. Their goated attacker, Lionel Messi, would pick up a red card in the 121st minute, as this game did end up going to extra time. Athletic Bilbao would win it in the 93rd minute, as they will advance to the next round of the Supercopa. And then looking out into Ligue 1, just to show you how, or just looking out to how things are looking for PSG following today's matchups. Lille was able to win their game against Stade Reims, so they are currently sitting at the top with PSG. So they were able to catch up with PSG in points. But Olympique Lyonnais, who had to win in order to stay at the top, they lost to Metz in the 90th minute, and with that win, they have now dropped to third, which means PSG is sitting with Lille at the top with 42 points, as they are 2 points ahead of Lyonnais, and PSG's goal differential advantage gives them the number one spot in Ligue 1. And then I think those are the big matchups from yesterday, but looking out to today, I don't think there's any really crazy big matchups. The United States women's national team does have an international friendly versus Colombia. Arsenal's going to face off against Newcastle at 3 o'clock too, but not much really going on because Arsenal's not really competing for anything in the Premier League. At the moment, they're sitting 11th in the table, as they are as 18 games through the season, they are currently sitting 13 points out of first place. But with that said, that's everything that's going on for Monday, January 18th, 2021. I want to thank you guys once again for listening to all 27 minutes of this piece, because there is a good amount of sports to watch today, a good amount of basketball, especially with college and the NBA. I want to thank you guys once again, because there's a good amount going on. And then following this, I am going to do a piece I'm going to do a preview for the conference championship round of the NBA, as we transition into the next week with 4 teams remaining. And with that said, I want to thank you guys once again for listening to my piece. I hope all is well, and I will catch you with a piece after this. And I will catch you up with all the games that are going on today, tomorrow, on Tuesday, January 19th. Thanks once again. Hope all is well. Peace out.